I'm sitting in my truck. On the side panel, in bold black letters, reads Sierra 12. Tonight is a slow night. I find it funny how, when I'm slammed, I wish for a night like this. When I finally get one, time crawls. My watch ticks half speed. My eyelids argue about staying open. I stare at the radio like it might suddenly come to life. Just give me something, anything. Something to break, something to fix, something to deliver. An emergency to make me feel useful again. The mobile tool truck is for aircraft mechanics, and my job is to deliver all the equipment they need to fix airplanes on the flight line. It's a good job. I make my rounds to all the mechanics and hand out oil kits, specialty wrenches, protective suits for dealing with liquid oxygen, and so on. Most of the time, that takes up about 2 hours of my shift. After that, I sit in my truck and wait, ready for any emergency that might come up. I like it because I get to interact with everyone on the flight line. It gives me time to study for college. I'm just a regular airman in the Air Force taking classes at a local college near the base. There are usually 20 to 30 airplanes out there at any given time. It's way more efficient for me to bring essential equipment to the mechanic than have them leave the aircraft and come all the way down to my shop. So, Sierra 12 was invented. And that's my handle. If someone needs me, they get on the two-way radio and call out the designated handle. If they want me, they say, Sierra 12, followed by their own handle. The lower the number, the more important the person. I'm Sierra 12, which puts me somewhere in the middle. Sierra 1 and 2 only work during the day, and they're never on the radio. They're the big brass. Sierra 3 is, actually, I don't even know who Sierra 3 is. I'm sure someone out there has that handle. Probably someone with a lot of stripes on their sleeve or brass on their collar. A lieutenant, maybe a captain. They probably work during the day. Me, I work nights. The graveyard shift. Most people think the night shift is slow. Most planes take off early in the morning, which means by 4 a.m., this place is busy. And if something breaks, they call me for the equipment. But tonight, nothing is stirring out there. All these planes are dark. There are no vehicles driving around the flight line preparing for the next mission. A slow, very slow night. I open the lid to the center box. I glance at my book. It's been there so long since I've touched it, I've forgotten the title, which means I'll have to start over. I can't even remember what it's about. Probably not a great book. I stare at the cover. Well, half the cover, actually. The other half is buried under a small stack of QC sheets I've accumulated over the past few months. They sit in the wooden box mounted on my center console. It's homemade, functionally, but not pretty. The lid is clear plexiglass, with 10 square boxes etched into it. I just use the dry eraser to write down which equipment I've checked out for each plane. And when I get it back, I wipe it off. Nothing digital, nothing fancy. When I lift the lid, I've got a stash of spare markers, old erasers, QC sheets, and, of course, that forgotten book. Judging by how buried it is, nobody else is reading it either. I stare at the cover again. Well, half the cover. Trying to guess the name of it or remember the plot. Nothing. I checked my watch. What felt like 30 minutes has only been, one. The second hand is moving, but I suspect it's slowing down every time I look away. I close the lid. If I can't remember the title or the story, then I tell myself I'm not interested in reading it. Both my doors of this panel truck are open to get that cross breeze. I only hear one generator going. That means no work is being done on the flight line tonight. I don't want any coffee. And there's no one in the shop to talk to. Michael, my partner on the shift, is off tonight. I remember he told me why, but I wasn't even paying attention. Last night, we had an unfinished chess game on the desk. I was too focused on figuring out how to capture his rook. And that game is still there, frozen mid-battle. I got a call right after my move and had to leave. And the night got busy, so we never got back to it. Wonder what he's up to. Maybe I'll call him.
Sierra 12, Sierra 4. Where are you?
My heart jumps a beat. When Sierra 4 asks for someone on the flight line, it becomes top priority. That someone was me this time. Sierra 4 is the highest ranking non-commissioned officer on the flight line. He is the flight line chief. He is the most important person on this flight line. And when he asks for something, it means it is mission critical. I grab my mic and yell into it.
Sierra 4, Sierra 12. I'm on spot 210. What do you need?
Spot 210 is a designation of certain spots on the flight line. It's a big circle with the number 210 on it.
Sierra 12, Sierra 4. I need some speed tape ASAP. Bring it to my location at 420. Roger, Sierra 4. Speed tape, 420. I'll bring it as soon as I find some.
Speed tape. That was gold on this flight line. If you had it, you keep it and you don't tell anyone you had a supply. Speed tape was always in short supply because it was so widely used on aircrafts. If mechanics needed to secure something down on an aircraft, speed tape was the go-to adhesive to do the job. It was amazing how tough speed tape was. Think duct tape on steroids. That's what speed tape is. And Sierra 4 needed some ASAP. Speed tape wasn't something I usually kept in my shop. It was mainly stocked by the specialty teams. You know, groups like electricians, navigation crews, engine guys. They all had speed tape. If you asked them, they'd swear they didn't. They did. The trick was getting them to admit it, and then convincing them to hand some over. Speed tape wasn't like a tool you loaned out. If someone gave you their speed tape, they knew they weren't getting it back. It was just too valuable. Every mechanic loved speed tape. Most people outside the job have never heard of it, and even among mechanics, there was an unspoken understanding. What we call the 10% rule. You won't find it written down anywhere, but every flight line mechanic knows the 10% rule. Let me tell you, here's how it works. Aircrafts are covered with panels, or the outer skin of the panel. Each panel are held on with anywhere from 50 to 200 screws, depending on the size. According to the 10% rule, you're allowed to have up to 10% of those screws missing from any given panel. The only catch, can't have more than 2 missing right next to each other. So, why are screws missing? Sometimes they're stripped. Sometimes the backings are gone. Sometimes they're just missing. Who knows? But that's where speed tape comes in. It covers those empty holes, quick and easy, good enough to keep the plane looking tight and airworthy. And if Sierra 4 is asking for it, it must be important. But where to look and who to ask. In a pursuit like this, it's like fishing a small fishing hole. You don't want to visit too often, so you don't fish it out. And the shops are the same way. If you keep showing up and asking for valuable resources, well, any friends and goodwill you have created will be gone. Some of the shops have locked doors, and if they know it's me and with my hand out, they won't even open the door. And now, everyone on the flight line knows what I'm looking for. Speed tape. The two-way radio. Every shop has one. Sierra 4 just gave me away. Every shop is listening, and now every shop knows I'm on the hunt. If I start knocking on locked doors now, they won't even open. The lights will already be off. If the military had a sign that said, "Nobody home, out of the office," it would be hanging in the window just before I get there. This mission, assigned to me by the highest ranking man on the flight line, has suddenly turned covert. Sierra 12 is going undercover. And this is going to require stealth, charm, and a little subterfuge. What started out as a slow, dark summer night has now become a full-blown search and discover mission. I ease out of spot 210 because that's the only way to move on the flight line. My truck's got a governor on it, and it sucks. I press the gas pedal and hit the blazing speed of 20 miles per hour. With adrenaline pumping, I got an emergency on my hands. I slam my foot down, and absolutely nothing happens. The truck groans, eases forward like on a Sunday drive, and I just crawl out of the circle. I make the slow, lumbering turn around the hangars. I've got a mission now. Find the speed tape. There are a series of hangars in front of me. Some of the doors are open, others are closed. The lights are all off, of course. But on a night like tonight, that's not unusual. People tend to hang out at the picnic tables outside the hangars, enjoying the quiet night. And, well, they don't want the lights on. I see movement, just as I predicted. In the two hangars with the open doors, I spot little figures scurrying away. Two slipping out through the side door. The third darting back into the hangar. Those Benedicts. And those are my friends. As I approach, the hangar doors begin to close. If ever there was a sign that says, "You're not welcome," it's a 30-foot hangar, doors creaking shut as you drive up. But I've been there before. This is nothing I didn't expect. I'm nearing the end of the flight line now. Painted on the pavement are long, wide, white lines marking the perimeter road. If you have a vehicle without a governor, this is where you'd floor it. But my truck is governed 20 miles per hour max, so now, no matter how hard I press the pedal, it's only going 20 miles per hour. I cross the white line and enter the hangar parking lot. That uneasy feeling creeps in, like I'm being watched. All the shops are eyeing me, wondering which hangar I'll go to first. And I wouldn't be surprised if someone was taking bets on who I'm going to ask first. This is my first move in the art of subterfuge. I take a left turn on the road. There's only one place it leads, the outer gate, and my shop. When they see me turn, they're probably relaxing, maybe thinking, just maybe, I have speed tape in my shop. As I pass the next two hangars, I catch something out of my peripheral vision. The office lights suddenly flicker off. Those airmen are my friends. We play volleyball together, sleep in the same barracks, eat in the same chow halls. It makes me laugh thinking how far friendship goes. And apparently speed tape is more than just repair tape. It draws lines in the sand between brothers. But I keep heading towards the gate. I head to my shop. I pull into my shop's lot and park right out in front, slow and obvious. Anyone watching from the shadows or beyond darkened windows would see me step out, stretch my back, and maybe even glance at my phone. Just a guy returning to his shop. No rush, no suspicions. Let him think I'm just going to get some speed tape from my boss. I leave the truck unlocked. Another subtle signal. I'll be right back. I'm not heading into the shop through the back like they expect. I round the building, cutting through the shadows toward the front entrance. You see, no one watches the front. Why would they? The front doors are for the commanders, inspectors, and forgotten ceremonies. I tap my key card against the reader. The soft beep is barely audible. But it is the loudest sound I've heard in minutes. The lock disengages with a soft click, and I ease the door open just wide enough for me to slip through. Inside, it's quiet. Just the faint hum of security lights and distant ventilation. I'm in the main corridor now, carpeted and lined with framed certificates and faded squadron photos. I move fast, but stay smooth, letting muscle memory guide me. I make my way towards the engine shop hangar. Door closed, but I've got clearance. I scan again. Inside the hangar, the mass of space swallows all the sound. The engine looms in the shadows like sleeping giants. And I duck behind the tool chest, keeping low. If anyone is here, they'll assume I'm just inventory or a shadow in the machinery. Tonight, I'm not just an airman. Tonight, I'm on a mission. I reach another security door. The door that leads me to the inventory of the engine shop. I've been in there 100 times. I reach for the card around my neck and swipe it across the reader. The door clicks open. I crack it just wide enough to slip through and slide in like a ghost. But then my keycard betrays me. The lanyard catches. The card doesn't come with me. It stays behind, and the heavy door closes behind me like a trap. And now I'm stuck. Literally stuck. Strangled by my own government-issued lanyard. I'm halfway in, halfway out. Bent forward on a 45-degree angle, arms flailing, trying to grab the handle behind me, while the lanyard tightens like some slow-motion cartoon noose. I try to whisper, yell at the door. Come on, open. Inside the hangar, my boots squeaking against the floor as I struggle for traction. It's not quiet. Meanwhile, just through the office door, I see them, my friends, peering out, eyes squinting towards the empty parking lot, wondering where I went. One of them tilts his head like he's heard something. I stop. I freeze, still mid-strangle. I raise my one hand slowly, waving to nobody like some tragic meme dying on an invisible leash. So much for stealth. I lie on the floor in a heap, the door still rattling behind me. The lanyard now seemingly getting tighter around my neck like a seatbelt from hell. I got one boot twisted under me, my hat is missing, and my dignity is somewhere back in the parking lot. And then, the overhead lights slam on. I squint into the blinding fluorescence. 3 silhouettes, like judges on a reality show that I never auditioned for.
"What the hell are you doing?"
says Staff Sergeant Mendez, hands on his hip, trying to suppress a laugh.
"What is this? A break-in? A sad interpretive dance?"
Jokes Airman Kelso, crouching slightly like he's trying to figure out what species I am. Airman Thompson doesn't say anything, just sips his energy drink and stares at me like I'm the final stage of disappointment. I raise a finger.
Gentlemen, this is not what it looks like. You sure? Cause it looks like you're trying to sneak into a government building and got strangled by your own ID badge and fell over like a tranquilized giraffe.
Kelso replies.
I was going for stealth.
Mendez squints at me like he's trying to figure out if I'm real.
You're about as stealth as a brass band in a porta potty.
I'm still stuck in the door, lanyard choking the back of my neck.
Guys, please, can someone get me out of this before I pass out?
Thompson pulls out his phone.
No. First, I need to memorize this moment.
He turns the camera on himself, leans in next to my red stained face, and snaps a selfie.
Thompson, don't post that. Seriously?
He just grins.
Oh, I will post it. I'm already thinking of the caption. Airman attempts stealth entry. Gets defeated by security door. Send help and scissors. Great. That'll be all over the base before I even get back to the shop. Wait till they ask you what happened.
Mendez laughs. I imagine it now. Me trying to explain.
I'll just tell them that I was conducting high-speed lanyard durability tests for safety compliances.
Thompson deadpans.
Sure. Very noble. Joking for the greater good.
They untangled my lanyard. I sit up, rubbing my neck, looking like a man who just survived a pillow fight.
Okay. I need some speed tape.
All three of them laugh like I just asked for classified launch codes.
You broke in here for speed tape? You heard Sierra 12. He needs it. It's for a mission. Top priority. I don't know what plane needs us, but this is mission critical. And you know the chief. He is not a patient man. I have about 10 minutes before he's going to get on that radio, chewing my ass with the whole flight line listening. And why were your lights off after the call went out? You guys know darn well why I'm here.
Kelso smirks.
What's in it for us? What's in it for you? This is mission critical. Speed tape. I know you guys have a stash of this stuff. Come on. My eternal gratitude, maybe a Gatorade.
Thompson nods solemnly.
Make it 2 Gatorades. Done.
And they disappear for a second and return with a half-used roll of the glorious, shimmering speed tape. Mendez holds it out dramatically, like it's the Holy Grail.
I can't believe I'm giving you this after that entrance.
As I stand there and brush myself off, Thompson deadpans.
Hey, 007, next time, just use the side door.
With the speed tape in hand, I take off. If you can call going 20 miles per hour taking off. The truck whines like it's trying its best, but we both know we're not going anywhere fast. I cut through the gate. I head towards the far end of the flight line, where the chief's truck is parked. His radio call already blasted across the airwaves.
Sierra 1-2, this is Sierra 4. You sightseeing or bringing me that tape before I retire?
Every airman within earshot probably heard it. I pull up. He's standing outside his truck with one boot on the floorboard, arms folded, no smile, no greeting, just business. I walk up to him and hand him the roll of speed tape. Without a word, he steps over to the passenger side, leans in, and presses the tape down. Right in the center hump between the driver and the passenger seat. A makeshift cradle. He sets his oversized cup into it. Then spits into it like he's done it 100 times. And that's when it hits me. This entire mission was for his spit cup. I blink at him, torn between disbelief and nausea. You needed it for that? He doesn't even glance my way. It's mission critical, he says flatly. Then he just stares. You know, that long, quiet kind of stare. The kind that means, don't push it, airman. I feel the words almost slip out of me. Something sarcastic. Something that would have gotten me demoted in under 6 seconds. Instead, I swallow it. Yes, Chief. He nods, barely. And now, mission complete. I walk back to my truck in silence. No radio chatter, no background noise, just my boots on the pavement. I climb into the cab and fasten my seatbelt. Looking down, I see the chief with his clipboard in hand, jotting something into one of the columns on his nightly report. He reaches over, grabs a cup, and leans into it. I turn away. I can't even watch what comes next. I stare at my wooden console with all the empty squares. Under the lid, buried and forgotten, is the book. Just then, it comes to me. Dead Man's Drift. That was the name. I remember now. It was about a captain who was caught in a storm. Someone aboard wanted him dead, and the ship was falling apart. I put the truck in drive and start heading back to Spot 210. Maybe it's about time to find how that captain handles his storm. The end.